You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, 2 crashes near Joplin, with one involving a Jasper County deputy.
But first, a solar company presents a revised proposal to the residents of Crawford County, but not everyone is convinced.
And we've got some clouds out there. It is going to be a little cooler today, even though we are warmer to start. A look at your forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is just after 7 a.m. on this Tuesday, February the 3rd. Happy Tuesday to everybody. Nice day yesterday. Warm. Got a lot of the snow out of here, which was nice. A little cooler later today. And some Crawford County residents got a lot going on.
You know, and we talk about the sun that we had yesterday. Sun's needed for solar. And, you know, after last week's Crawford County Commission meeting, questions are still swirling around about a proposed solar project in Crawford County. A revised proposal from Shasta solar company Shasta is now on the table, but not everyone's convinced.
KOAM's Blake Gully reports.
I'm not anti-solar, I'm not pro-solar, I'm pro-transparency.
Shasta Power says it revised its proposal in response to those transparency concerns. The company and landowners where the project will be built have been meeting directly with neighbors to explain changes to the plan.
The flag behind me is 400 feet from my property line. And then most of these homes are another 200 feet from here. So it would be approximately 600 feet from any of these homes before they would even see a privacy fence. They wouldn't see the solar panels because they're lower than the 8-foot-high privacy fence.
I'm standing outside of one of the proposed solar farm sites here in Crawford County. Under Shasta Power's latest proposal, direct payments will be made to homeowners that live nearby. But for some residents, that still doesn't address their concerns.
So they're pressuring the council, they're pressuring the commission, they're pressuring the neighbors, and people don't want to be pressured. They want to be filled in.
County leaders say the debate has highlighted a bigger issue: outdated regulations.
I think at this point where we're at right now, we need to get the comprehensive plan done, because our current comprehensive plan's expired. It has no language that covers wind or solar in it, or not anything updated that's detailed. And quite frankly, we need to have those kind of regulations in place before we approve any more projects.
Discussions are expected to continue. Reporting in Crawford County, Kansas, Blake Gully, KOAM News.
Shasta Power and participating landowners are expected to speak at the next Crawford County Commission meeting.
Of course, a lot going on out there, a lot to keep an eye on for those folks, and definitely both sides of the table here. So just kind of see how that all continues to pan out. And yesterday panned out to get rid of a lot of snow out there. Still some of it left, though, which we can see in downtown Pittsburgh. Not much, but a little still left. Mostly cloudy skies out there as well. Wesco Camera 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. As you can see, most of the snow gone. It's the snow piles in the parking lots, and that's one issue we face, is as these melt, you can see all the shiny spots here. We're going to drop near normal tonight, so we're talking below freezing, back into the mid-20s. So some of that melting, especially in the parking lots, could refreeze, so you just want to be cautious out there. KDOT camera just north of Baxter Springs looks good. Still some snow, but not nearly as much snow as what we saw here yesterday. And the MoDOT camera just on 32nd and Rangeline, looking back to the south, looks good. Sidewalks are looking better, but I mean, you can see here there's still some good chunks that are covered in snow. So one of the issues I've noticed coming back from the station, coming on West 7th Street especially, West 7th's been pretty bad in terms of sidewalk clearing. A lot of them were still covered in snow yesterday. That's led to folks walking in the road. And I get that, but a couple of things. Drivers, you need to be aware of that on some of these main roads where those sidewalks are still covered. You got to watch out for folks in the roadway. But the folks in the roadway, some of them, yesterday, for example, I saw a person, they were so engrossed in their device that they were completely unaware of the traffic surrounding them. And it could have led to a more tragic conclusion. So everybody just pay attention. The snow will eventually be gone. The sidewalks will be clear again, but do be cautious out there as you're traveling. Temperatures this morning, warmer than yesterday. We got some upper 20s. Yates Center, the cold spot at 28. We got 29s in the Odyssey, Chanute, and Fort Scott. We see still some mid-30s, low mid-30s out there, which is still warmer than yesterday. We had teens and 20s. And then down south, that front still sliding through. That's why we We've got 43 in Bentonville, 40 in Jay, but eventually it'll get a little cooler as well. All right, here we go around the region. Some clearing taking place out west. It will be short-lived. Clouds will thicken back up. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies, a light north breeze, and perhaps an isolated sprinkle or two, but any rain chances today very minimal. We're going to go into the mid-30s by 9. So again, even though we have a warmer start this morning, we have a cooler day into the low to mid-40s out there. North winds 5 to 10. Average highs into the upper 40s. So we're not far from normal, but compared to yesterday, we're almost 10 degrees cooler for those highs. We're going to be a little colder tomorrow as well, but worry not. More warm air on the way. We're going to break down the details for you in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. Missouri State Highway Patrol is investigating a DWI crash near Carthage yesterday. Troopers say a southbound SUV left Country Club Road near Summit Lane and hit a tree just west of the city limits around 1:30. The driver suffered non-life-threatening injuries and was taken to an area hospital. Carthage Fire, Jasper County deputies, and Mercy Ambulance all responded to the scene. Another crash yesterday involved a Jasper County deputy. The T-bone collision occurred at 20th and Main Street in Joplin. Both drivers were transported to a nearby hospital as a precaution. The crash is still under investigation. A head-on crash claims the life of a Pittsburgh teacher. The crash happened back on January 17th, just west of Pittsburgh. Troopers say a pickup was passing multiple vehicles at a high rate of speed when the collision happened. The driver of the truck, Craig Sylvie of Cherokee, died at the scene. The passenger in the car, Heather Burgess of Girard, suffered serious injuries. She was taken to an area hospital where she recently died of her injuries. The body of a missing Lake of the Well, with the Olympics and Super Bowl right around the corner, scammers are ready to take advantage of sports bettors. Chris Bryant has things to keep in mind so you don't become a victim when placing a wager.
It's an exciting time. We love the Super Bowl. And so it's easy to get carried away. So just make sure that you're engaging properly, that when you do go ahead and choose a good platform and you've done your research.
The American Gaming Association says Americans are expected to wager nearly $1.76 billion on the Super Bowl this weekend.
Unsolicited links are always something to be suspicious of. That's a red flag. If you did not initiate the sports bettor, the wager, then it's best to leave that alone.
From the money line, point spread, total points, prop bets, and even parlays, the options when it comes to placing a wager this weekend seem endless. However, scammers will attempt to use fraudulent websites, promotions, social media, and even offshore sites to try to steal your money.
So they're counting on you to let your guard down and maybe click on a suspicious link or just engage with some sort of unknown platform that they really shouldn't. And so that's why it's really important that, number one, you make sure that it's legal to place a bet where you in your state, wherever you are, and also best to deal with sports books that are whitelisted, as the term is, meaning that they are approved by the local gaming commission.
And also be sure to read the fine print so you know what to expect if you win or lose.
If you need help with a gambling addiction, you can call 1-800-MY-RESET or 1-888-BETS-OFF. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up, the Joplin Public Library is hosting their annual Black History Fair this Saturday. We'll hear more from librarian Christina Matikel-Gibson coming up. Back this morning, we have Christina with the Joplin Public Library in the studio with us because you guys have a pretty exciting event coming up this weekend. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is?
Yeah, so this Saturday, February 7th, we have our All Ages Black History Fair coming up.
Amazing. So is this an event you guys have held before?
Yes, this is, I think, the 7th year that we've done it. So it's a tradition for us now.
Amazing. So at the Black History Fair, can you tell us a little bit about, what's it going to look like? What's it going to be like?
Sure. So it's kind of set up like a resource fair. I like to think, I don't know, I think like a science fair or history fair is super fun. So kind of that setup. We invite organizations who are doing work in the Black community in Joplin to set up a booth and bring activities or information about their organization, and community members can learn about what they're doing, visit the different tables, maybe learn about any upcoming projects or things they have going on. So just kind of a nice community gathering.
Great. And I see you've brought some books with you as well. Are these going to be some of the things you kind of showcase to people, outside of even just the resources they can find in the community?
Yeah, for sure. So, yes, I brought this book, just won the Newbery Award. It's called All the Blues in the Sky by Renee Watson. And it is, the Newbery is like the best children's book. They award it every year. It's so good. And then the children's department is going to highlight Jerry Pinkney, who's a very prolific African-American author and illustrator. And I brought all kinds of books, but I brought some of his too. He's got a biography called Just Jerry, and then he's got, all kinds of books where he illustrates songs and fables and fairy tales and things like that.
Amazing. Yeah. And I know you were saying this is an all ages event, so pretty much every member of the family will have something there for them.
Yes. So we'll have, activities for little kids, crafts and things, and then hopefully that will, give them something to do while maybe their older siblings, their parents, their grandparents are, learning kind of in more detail about these different organizations and what they have going on.
Amazing. What do you hope families kind of take away from this event?
I hope there are a lot of people, as I said, doing really great things in the Black community in Joplin, and they have been for so many years and continue to do so. So I hope they kind of, maybe if they didn't know, can kind of learn about what that looks like, or about maybe what that's going to look like in the future, just kind of get more connected with their community.
Great. And I know this is an event, like you were saying, you guys have held for a couple of years now. What's been the community response to it?
Yeah, it's been really great. It's been fun to see. We really do get people of all ages, and I think it's kind of, now that we're in our 7th year, it is like I said, a really nice tradition. I think there's this is what we do, and there's maybe an expectation or a hope that we'll continue to do it.
It's something people look forward to now. Amazing. Well, you said this weekend, this Saturday. Can you tell us one more time the times for people at home?
Sure, yeah. So it's this Saturday, February 7th. It's from 11 a.m. to 12:30, and it's in the library's community room.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining this morning.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, we're very excited. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We'll be right back.
Weather forecast from the trusted Roper Kia Weather Center.
Welcome back, everybody. It's about 7:17 now on this Tuesday morning. We're going to start with the future track. We have a little clearing taking place out west. However, we will have these clouds return, and we will spend the majority of the next couple of days mostly cloudy across the region. Could get an isolated sprinkle or two, although not really expecting much in terms of any precipitation. Just dealing with the clouds and cooler temperatures. That cold front is right now about here-ish and is continuing to push off to the south and east. Like I said, it's a weak cold front, and it's that way because there's no real precipitation associated with it, and the temperature drop associated with it is not significant. It's going to be cooler, yes, but it's not a major drop, especially like what we saw heading through last week. We go into our Wednesday. Now, Wednesday is going to be a bit colder, still above freezing, but colder than where we're going to be today, and we are cooler today than where we were yesterday, of course. And we're still cloudy, mostly cloudy, straight up cloudy, isolated shower or a little sprinkle or two possible, but again, overall rain chances, at least at this point for tomorrow, very low. Now, we'll remain mostly cloudy Wednesday night into Thursday, but you see how the clouds are moving south, then they start tracking off to the east, and you see the winds changing early Thursday morning. These clouds will begin to clear out through the morning, and by the afternoon, we should have clear skies. But we're also going to have gusty southwest winds, and that will help bring in warmer temperatures for us, which will certainly be nice, again, compared to the fact it's going to be somewhat chilly here. All right, so we can see a little clearing, not much, more clouds still out there from 7th and Range Line. We're going to start into the low 30s. So like I said, this morning, all of us starting warmer than where we were yesterday, but the temperatures, as you see, don't really do a lot of moving. We're into the upper 30s by 11 o'clock this morning. I apologize, there's something in my eye, and it kind of hurts. And it's a bad time for that to happen. It never happens when I'm sitting around or looking at data. It happens when I'm right here in front of you. Why wouldn't it? course. All right, highs today, low to mid 40s. We should be in the upper 40s. So that's what I'm saying. Our highs in terms of average, not that far off today. But compared to yesterday, these numbers about 10 degrees cooler than yesterday. North winds about 5 to 10. By late evening and overnight, winds will become calm, mostly cloudy, mid 30s by 10. Seasonably cold tonight, back into the mid 20s. This is what we talked about earlier as well. Melting that takes place today, while most of it's confined to the big piles on parking lots or sidewalks, things like that, could refreeze. So you do want to just watch out for some patchy slick spots tonight, and you'll need to do the same thing tomorrow night as well. Like I said, tomorrow though is colder, upper 30s and low 40s, and we're back into the mid 20s. So at least our lows are on par for average, but some refreezing could still take place. Thursday, a little warmer, low 50s, near 60 Friday. I've said this before, I think everybody on Friday should have the day off because it's going to be a really nice day. And I know a lot of folks have been cooped up inside for quite some time. We're going to hang on to the 50s through the weekend, maybe some evening rain chances on Sunday. Then, to start the next work week, we're into the low 60s. A few showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms next Tuesday, and temperatures continuing to remain mild for us. That is a check of your forecast. Coming up next, Charlene Patton standing by in the studio. Going to show us a healthier twist on chocolate cake, and chocolate cake's always good. We'll have more on that when we come back.
Welcome back. We've got Charlene Patton from the Kansas Soybean Commission joining us in the studio today, showing us how to make another one of her delicious recipes. And like you said, it's right in time for Valentine's Day.
We're right around the corner from Valentine's Day, and I saved this recipe because I just thought it'd be perfect for Valentine's Day when we talk about chocolate.
Yes.
This is a winning recipe in the dessert category from the Kansas State Fair. She actually got first place. So I'll let you tell who won that.
Yeah, this is Christian Conrad's No Workout Needed chocolate cake. It sounds great. I love the title.
Yes.
Let me tell you. Great title.
And it only has 3 ingredients in this cake recipe. So I've already put in 1 package of cake mix, and that would be a 2-layer chocolate cake mix. And she said a dark chocolate, so that's what we're using. I put that in the food processor, and then this is 1 package of tofu. And I think I've used both firm and soft, so I think you can use either one. Put that in your food processor, and then we're just going to mix that for a little bit. All right, then. And you would actually mix this probably a little bit more, but we're going to save some time. Now you're going to add the 3rd ingredient, and this is a 1/2 cup of coffee.
I know some people are going to love this part. There we go.
So 3 ingredients to actually make this chocolate cake. Now, what I would do if I was at home is that I would scrape down the sides of it and then just mix it a little bit more until you have a nice mixed batter. Then we're going to put that into a greased springform cake pan. And she says to use a 9-inch. I've used 10-inch. You could use 8-inch. It's just going to make the difference in the height of the cake. Bake that at 350 degrees. And then she has a topping here when it comes out of the oven. 1/4 cup of chocolate chips, a tablespoon of our soy nut butter, and 3 tablespoons of soy milk. Put that in the microwave until it's nice and smooth. And then when it comes out of the oven and it's warm, go ahead and spread that on the top. Easy recipe for our Valentine's Day, and chocolate, and a winning recipe.
I mean, it all sounds like a great combination, and like you said, it's so easy. Feels like this would come together really quick, because I know sometimes people are in such a rush, and so this is like a perfect recipe where like I can make something sweet and make something special, but still have it be easy and great in my schedule.
And this recipe will serve 12, with it being in the springform cake pan, so you have a dessert that will serve the entire family, or you can have it for just a couple of people for a special and have some leftovers.
Amazing. Well, if people want to find this recipe, Charlene, where should they go?
Yes, go to kansassoybeans.org, call our 800 number 877-KS-SOYBEAN, and we'll mail you all the recipes for February.
Well, that sounds great. Thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to be able to take a bite of this when we're finished. So.
Great.
Well, we'll be right back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. I'm Samantha Walker. Opposition over a proposed data center grows in Joplin. Later this month, the Joplin City Council will once again discuss the proposed Wildwood Ranch annexation, land that's earmarked to build a data center. KOAM's Kenny Foreman finds out what concerned Joplin residents are doing to ensure their voices are heard.
After the voting did not go in her favor at the January 20th meeting, Rebecca Collins, president of the Joplin Sustainable Technology Alliance, felt determined to give the council more to think about the next time around.
They cannot tell an individual citizen what to do with their property, but that's where the citizens of Joplin can step in, and we can use our voice to say, hey, we know that there's a proposed data site going in this property, and we are not okay with that. So if the city isn't going to step up and call for their own moratorium, then we will.
She helped initiate a petition calling for a moratorium and environmental study to be put in place before the city can go forward with plans for a proposed data center. In just a few short days, many Joplin residents signed it, letting the city know how they feel about the property.
If we can gather, a couple hundred people to show up at a city council meeting, that's nothing compared to allowing the entirety of the community to know exactly what they're voting for, exactly what they would get out of this project. So I think the biggest thing is allowing the community to have their voice heard in as many ways as possible.
And in the event that the voting doesn't go in their favor, the petitioners don't anticipate accepting defeat right away.
If the council does go ahead and annex the property at the city council meeting, then we will go ahead and push for a referendum, which would ask to overturn the council's decision on that and put it on the ballot so the citizens of Joplin can vote.
In any event, Collins is confident that her community will back each other up when it matters most.
The community has really stepped up. So this has been a grassroots movement where community members have been texting each other, posting in the Facebook page, really just getting the word out, putting boots on the ground. So it's been really inspiring to see.
In Joplin, Kenny Foreman, KOAM News.
The February 17th council vote will be held at MSSU in order to accommodate more people following higher than usual attendance at last month's meeting. Now here's Chris Warner with a quick look at your forecast.
And again, we have got a slightly warmer start out there than where we were yesterday. I had a lot of teens and 20s, but our day today will be about 10 degrees cooler than where we were yesterday. Let's start though with our live look downtown Pittsburgh. There's some clouds. There's still some snow. Not as much, but still some snow. Westco camera, 7th and range line. Some clearing, more clouds. That's what I said. Any clearing that takes place is going to be relatively brief. Our biggest thing is going to be the snow really in the parking lots. And as that melts, because we're going to be colder tonight and tomorrow night, could lead to some refreezing, so just be aware where there's still some snow, where it does melt. If it doesn't dry out today, it could refreeze tonight. KDOT camera just north of Baxter Springs on 69. A little bit of snow out there still, but not as much as what we saw yesterday morning. And the MoDOT camera, 32nd and range line in Joplin, looking back to the south. Plenty of folks getting their day underway. Sidewalks are clearing, but again, just want to emphasize to anybody who's walking on these sidewalks, especially in the business areas, they've been somewhat messy. West 7th, like I said, it's a route I take back in. It has been notoriously bad on some of the sidewalks out there, and that's led to folks walking in the streets. So drivers, where we still have some of these covered sidewalks, you need to be aware of that so you don't hit anybody, but also the walkers in the street. Again, I saw a person yesterday on my way home. They were so engrossed in their device that they were paying zero attention to how far they had wandered into the driving lane, and they were paying zero attention to the traffic around them. So everybody's got to be cautious out there. But the snow will eventually go completely away, which will be nice. All right, some upper 20s up north, still warmer than yesterday. We got 28s in Yates and Iola, some 29s Chanute and Fort Scott. We're in the low mid 30s. Most of the other locations, cold front is still right here-ish, and that's why we've got 40 in Jay and 43 in Bentonville. But eventually you'll cool back a bit as well. Anybody that does clear out even briefly, clouds will return pretty quickly as we go through the morning into the afternoon. A light north breeze and perhaps a sprinkle or two, but nothing significant expected there. We'll go mid-30s by 9, low to mid-40s for those highs. So just a few degrees off of average, which is the upper 40s. But like I said, about 10 degrees cooler than where we were yesterday, and that north wind at about 5 to 10. We're seasonably cold tonight. Tomorrow night, we're colder though during the day tomorrow, and then the temperatures will warm right back up again. Details on all of that in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Thanks, Chris. The Joplin City Council votes on the future of the historic Memorial Hall. The century-old building is on its way to a $17 million renovation through a public-private partnership. The Friends of Memorial Hall group asked for $7 million in city bonds funded by increasing the lodging tax from 4 to 6%. That tax would only be paid by overnight visitors at Joplin hotels, not by residents. Last night's vote approved the framework for the deal, but voters would still need to approve the tax increase in a future election. Well, one small Missouri town gets some big recognition. Neosho is named one of the winners of the Small Town Showcase, Show Me 250. The showcase, hosted by the nonprofit Missouri Humanities, features small Missouri communities that have a lot of history and personality to offer, but may get overlooked by their bigger neighbors. Neosho and 4 other communities will be featured on the Small Town Showcase podcast, as well as a short film about each town. Missouri Southern State University doubles its nursing program capacity this spring. Previously, the university accepted just 30 nursing students each fall. Now the program welcomes an additional 20 students every spring semester. The change creates 4 active student groups and allows up to 100 students to progress through the Bachelor of Science and nursing programs simultaneously. Mercy Hospital Joplin is funding the expansion to address the 4-state region's critical shortage of qualified nurses. Well, if the recent weather has you thinking about summertime, you're not the only one. Pittsburgh Parks and Rec Department has announced the opening of the Pittsburgh Aquatic Center. The official date is May 22nd. Reservations and swim lessons will be open on May 1st. Dive into KOAMNewsNow.com for more information, including hours and admission rates. Well, warmer temperatures are melting snow off roads after January's winter storm. That's driving people to car washes, and not just for the looks. Cleaning your car after a snowstorm isn't just about appearance. One auto shop owner says snow and salt can corrode vehicle parts and damage components that keep cars running safely. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A luxurious new McDonald's item debuts for Valentine's Day. In Consumer Watch, the Department of Transportation has released a new shutdown plan for the airlines. A shutdown plan released by the Department of Transportation involves the furlough of more than 10,000 FAA workers. Another 14,000 air traffic controllers will not receive pay during the partial shutdown. Last year's shutdown put a heavy strain on U.S. aviation. Thousands of flights were canceled, and at one point, flights at 40 airports throughout the U.S. were reduced by 6% by the FAA. It's hoped that won't be necessary this time around, but the ongoing partial government shutdown is set to continue until today at least, with House Democrats so far not committing to providing the votes necessary to fast-track the funding package for the government to fully reopen. President Trump says he will be lowering tariffs on imports from India after the country agreed to stop buying oil from Russia. The president says he'll reduce the levy to 18%, a drop by 7 percentage points. Trump made the announcement yesterday after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi agreed to stop purchasing oil from Russia. For months, Trump has been pressing India to cut its reliance on cheap Russian crude. India has been taking advantage of reduced prices for Russian oil after the world isolated Moscow for its invasion of Ukraine almost 4 years ago. Trump says India would also begin reducing its import taxes on American goods to zero and would buy $500 billion worth of American products. An undercover investigation on Meta heads to court. The state of New Mexico accuses the media giant's platforms of being a, quote, breeding ground for sexual predators. New Mexico's lawsuit follows a coordinated investigation using proxy social media accounts of young users to track sexual solicitation on Meta apps like Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, as well as how the platforms respond. Prosecutors say Meta should be held accountable for how such content is presented on its platforms rather than being held accountable for the content itself. Meta says the accusations in the lawsuit are, quote, sensationalist. Jury selection in the case began yesterday in the Santa Fe District Court, with opening statements expected on February 9th. And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Here's your Skywatch weather forecast from the trusted Roper Kia Weather Center.
Welcome back. It's 7:43 on this Tuesday morning, and we will start with the future track because, well, it tells us what's happening down the road, and we're starting at noon today. Some of you are seeing a little bit of clearing take place. Not a lot, but a little bit. It will be short-lived. We're going to spend the next, today, tonight, tomorrow night, first portion of Thursday, with cloudy skies, and so it's going to look a little dreary. We are a little cooler today. We'll have a light north breeze, but we'll still get melting done. Our temperatures, even behind this cold front, at least daytime temperatures, will remain above freezing, so that's some good news. The problem builds in overnight tonight and overnight tomorrow night. Now, our average lows are around the mid-20s. That's where we're heading tonight and tomorrow, so definitely cold, but average. The thing is we still have some snow, especially the big piles on parking lots, maybe some sidewalks, things like that, where it isn't completely clear. Any of it that melts and that liquid doesn't evaporate during the day is going to refreeze overnight tonight and again tomorrow night. So you just want to be aware there could be some patchy icy spots here and there. Nothing significant, but still want to be cautious. Well, mostly cloudy skies tonight and tomorrow. In fact, in some cases tomorrow, we may just be straight up cloudy. Could get an isolated sprinkle today or tomorrow, but again, we're not expecting really much in the way of precipitation. That's again why this is also kind of a weak cold front. The temperature drop is there, but it's not significant. It's not a big drop, and there's no real precipitation associated with it, just the clouds to hang around. So Wednesday night into Thursday, it's cloudy again. However, as we go through the day Thursday, you saw the clouds were moving south, and then early Thursday morning they start rolling east because winds begin to shift out of the west and eventually out of the southwest, and we'll see most of this begin to clear out by Thursday afternoon. The trade-off is warmer temperatures, but some gusty southwest winds are possible out there, so that's something we'll keep an eye on as well, just for it being breezy, but we will start to warm back up again. As for today, everybody's starting warmer today than where we were yesterday, but we're not going to do a lot of warming through the morning. Remember, yesterday we started like in the 20s and teens, and we made it into the 40s by 11. Not happening today. Low 30s to start, upper 30s by 11, and you can see some clearing. Again, this is a good example over Joplin, but you can also see more clouds off in the horizon, and that's where we're headed. Mostly cloudy skies today, low mid 40s. Average highs this time of year should be the upper 40s, so we're not far from normal, but we are about 10 degrees cooler today than where we were yesterday. And we'll have those north winds 5 to 10. Winds will become calm by late evening into the overnight, mid-30s around 10, mid-20s tonight, so seasonably cold. Tomorrow, though, a little colder, upper 30s, low 40s, so still above freezing, but not so enjoyable. But we go back to the low 50s by Thursday, near 60 by Friday. Sunny skies out there, a few evening showers possible on Sunday, maybe a few scattered showers and storms for some of us on Tuesday, and we start next week in the 60s, still hanging out in the mid-50s through the second half of next week. That is a check of your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.
Well, a baby elephant gets lots of love as she celebrates her birthday over the weekend. Hundreds of fans turned out at the Oregon Zoo in Portland to wish a happy first birthday to the elephant named Tula 2.
Now, Oregon Zoo curators say the nearly 1,000-pound animal quickly learned how to use her trunk and feet and fit right in with the herd. Tula 2 is an Asian elephant, which is an endangered species.
But for Tula 2's special day, she just wants to frolic around, have fun, and even get to know a 7-month-old girl with the same name.
All right, we have some other stories to share with you, but I found some that I wanted to share. They're printed on this paper here, just a couple of them. First off, migraines. Doug deals with them. Doug Hetty deals with them. I've dealt with them for a long time. They can be uncomfortable. Some of you do as well. Well, this one I wanted to share that there's a doctor who has, this is not official science by any means, but he's learned that going to like McDonald's and getting a Coke and fries will help with your migraine, Because, first off, the fries and the Coke can trigger the brain's dopamine, the reward system, which that helps. The caffeine level in the Coca-Cola helps. And even sometimes, for some folks, the salt can trigger a migraine, but the salt in the fries can assist you with a migraine headache as well. So just some interesting information here that I found. And you are way too young. In fact, most of the folks in this building, right now anyway, are way too young to remember Y2K.
That's when you need to shut down your
Yeah,
computer.
because the world was going to come to a close.
Because everything was going to explode. Because they didn't know. They were like, are the computers going to reset to zero?
Well, so fun fact, a friend of mine and I, we had a bunch of these old 1980s machines, and they, and they're set up, they only displayed a 2-digit year. So we set them to like 11:59 p.m. on 12/31/99, and we sat there and watched them run. And when it switched over to 00, you know what they did? Nothing. They kept trucking on. They didn't care what year it was. So there's a new problem, though. This is Y2K38. Now, this is a little technical, so I'll get to it pretty quickly. Now, most electronic devices won't have an issue with this, but supposedly they've got things that are like signal systems on the road, control systems in water companies, electrical grids, things like that, that rely on what they say is a Unix-type technology. I guess they use here, according to this, they use 32-bit integers and rollover. Now, I'm a nerd, but I don't know exactly what that means. But it says that what it is they have a maximum value. They count the seconds from, I think it said 1970, since the seconds that have passed since January 1st, 1970. So the ones that use that system that count by seconds, they have a maximum value of seconds, and it runs out December 31st at midnight of 2037 going into 2038. So they're working on a fix for those older systems, because I guess that is a legitimate problem, they say, because they'll run out of seconds. They'll reach a maximum value that they can process, and that could cause issues with them. Most of us are fine, but it said certain things here. So.
And it sounds like we got like a solid decade to that problem.
Yeah, we do, and they're working on that now. But just some interesting things that I wanted to share. Another interesting thing is these folks, they don't mind the snow and ice. We do, but these guys don't. They're penguins at the zoo.
Video from the Pittsburgh Zoo and Aquarium showed the animals enjoying this extreme winter weather, frolicking, playing, and sliding in fresh snow in their zoo enclosures.
I used to frolic and play like that in the snow when I was younger. Well,
that's still how I walk through it.
That's
hands over.
I don't frolic and play doing that now. I'm just trying not to fall down. But back then, so I remember when I was a kid. My younger sister. This is funny. She was like 4, whatever. We got like 18 inches of snow or something in the early 90s in Joplin, and I'm like 5, and so we're out there in the snow playing, and she's on the porch, and the snow had come up over the porch, and I just shoved her off. And then she couldn't get back out of the snow, and she starts crying, and then I'm laughing, of course, and then my mom comes out. She wasn't laughing, but and I'm just looking at her down there, and she's like scrambling and freaking out. Now as a kid, an adult with parents or with kids, I'm like, oh, okay, that was sad. But at the time, it was amusing.
Because as a child, the panic is real. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to drown in this snow. I'm going to suffocate. It's going to...
so bad. I feel bad about it now, but back then it amused me.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. All right, we got a few seconds. We're going to tell you about this.
A group of Florida influencers took advantage of chilly weather in the Sunshine State to make a blanket of cold, stunned iguanas. Don't do this.
Okay, well, this video here was posted February 1st, shows influencer Stax and his comedic co-creators in Hollywood, Florida, joking that he's trying to sleep under a pile of the invasive lizards, which were easy to capture because they get into a state of torpor called brumation. It's because it gets so cold, and Florida doesn't get cold that often, so they're not dead, they just kind of look like it. So that's, 1,000 of these non-native reptiles were brought into some offices. Very interesting there. An interesting blanket. I'm not comfortable with that blanket.
Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
Not my recommendation.
Well, also, sorry, we need to tell you very quickly about the McLuxury thing. So this is McDonald's, and they've got a luxury item ahead of Valentine's Day, and they say that it's releasing a McNugget caviar kit for free. It's exclusive online, $25 gift card. You get a 1-ounce tin of McNugget caviar and a mother of pearl spoon and something I can't pronounce, cream viace. So yeah, there's all that.
Fans will have a chance to win at McNuggetCaviar.com beginning February 10th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be while the supplies last.
Yeah, Final check of your forecast right after this. Again, we are a little cooler today. Low mid-40s out there, mostly cloudy, north winds 5 to 10. Seasonably cold tonight, mid-20s, so things that do melt, what we do have left of snow, just be aware it could refreeze out there. Colder tomorrow, upper 30s, low 40s, still cloudy, and gusty southwest winds Thursday bring the warm weather back. Low 50s, near 60 Friday. Shower chances Sunday and Tuesday. 60s to kick off the next work week. Mid-50s on the other side of the shower and storm chances. So just a couple of days of a little bit on the chilly side, and we're going to warm right back up.
I'm excited for these nicer, warmer temperatures for sure.
Me too.
We had our snow. Now let's get on to spring.
Yeah, let's get some warmer air in here, and we certainly will in a couple of more days. In the meantime, we want to thank you for joining us here. We will be back with more news and weather at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.